Pranks have always been a huge part of entertainment, but in the age of the internet, they took on a whole new dimension. Bolder, more elaborate, and honestly a lot more controversial than ever before. From simple jump scares to full-on cinematic productions, creators started pushing the limits further and further, constantly chasing views and trying to grab the attention of as many people as possible. But at what point does it all stop being just fun? And when exactly does the line between humor and genuine discomfort get crossed? Is it even possible to know where that line is anymore? Well, that's exactly what you're about to find out today. So this wild prank was pulled by comedian Ari Shaffir, and it comes from an older project he did called The Amazing Racist, where he played this intentionally offensive and over-the-top character just to get real reactions out of people on the street. In this particular prank, he uses a pickup truck to give some immigrants a ride, and at a certain point, he pulls the truck into the parking lot of a public library, hops out, and starts screaming that the men in the truck are illegal immigrants. Completely caught off guard, they take off running, fearing the worst, while Ari just stands there laughing. His whole goal was to create that sense of discomfort, not just for the people walking by, but for the men in the truck themselves. And here's where it gets even more controversial. According to some reports, those men were actually real immigrants who had been tricked by Ari into taking part in the production without fully understanding what they were getting into. That detail alone made the whole thing blow up even more and added a seriously dark layer to what was already a deeply uncomfortable stunt.
Ines, la migra! There's 6 of them right here!
Because the prank showed something so completely unexpected, it really didn't take long to get shared all over the place and blow up online back in the day. Since then, Ari Shaffir has gained a certain level of recognition and picked up some fans along the way, but also a whole lot of criticism because of his sharp and edgy style of humor, where he tackles and jokes about some pretty sensitive topics. A group of friends hanging out at a golf course decided to pull a prank on one of their buddies, and it ended up being pretty hilarious. The footage shows the whole group gathered together, while one guy sneaks up from behind, holding a fake rubber snake attached to a clear string, and clips it right onto his friend's shirt. Once it's secured without the guy noticing, the prank kicks off with everyone pretending to freak out like they just spotted a real snake. The moment the guy turns around, he sees the snake and thinks it's chasing him, so he absolutely bolts in a total panic. And every single time he looks back, the snake is still right there coming after him, because of course, it was clipped to his shirt the whole time, and he had absolutely no idea. One friend is filming while the others are cracking up laughing, and the guy is so completely panicked that he doesn't realize it's a prank, that the snake was stuffed inside his shirt, or even that the whole thing was just a toy. Only after he falls and totally embarrasses himself do his friends, still laughing their heads off, finally let him in on the joke. This prank became known as one of the most elaborate and carefully crafted marketing stunts ever pulled off by a brand. And it was part of Nivea's stress test campaign, which was created specifically to promote their Stress Protect deodorant line. Unlike simpler or more spontaneous pranks that rely on improvisation, this one was meticulously planned like a full-on cinematic operation taking place inside a real, functioning airport, with multiple coordinated elements all working together seamlessly to create an incredibly convincing and immersive illusion. The unsuspecting victims sitting in the airport had their photos taken discreetly, completely without any idea whatsoever of what was actually coming their way. Within just a few minutes, those images were being inserted into fake newspaper front pages that were physically circulating right there in the terminal. And on top of that, they were also showing up in simulated live news broadcasts playing on the airport's own TV screens. All of it carefully designed to make it look like those people were genuinely being hunted down by the police. The experience got even more intense and unsettling when the airport's PA system started reading out detailed physical descriptions of the victims out loud, causing everyone around them to start staring with visible suspicion, cranking up the psychological pressure significantly, and making the whole thing feel shockingly and disturbingly real. The absolute peak of the performance came when supposed security agents started closing in on the targets, pushing that overwhelming feeling even further and making each person genuinely believe they were right about to be detained and taken away. Then came the big reveal, where everything was suddenly diffused by the opening of a briefcase containing the brand's products, directly tying the whole experience back to the campaign's core concept, demonstrating how stress triggers very real physical reactions in the body, like excessive sweating. The whole execution was carefully designed to be both fast and precise, from the instant printing of the newspapers all the way to the synchronization with the ads and videos, and all of that combined contributed to an incredibly high level of realism and immersion. At the same time, this campaign also managed to spark some pretty significant and important ethical debates. While a whole lot of people considered it an absolute stroke of creative and advertising genius, others saw it as way too cruel, and specifically because it placed ordinary, everyday people into a situation of genuine, real fear, even if the whole thing was only meant to be temporary. One of the most well-known figures on the internet when it comes to comedy is Playful. He's grumpy, he's funny, and he always ends up getting the short end of the stick when his friend Leoncio pulls pranks on him. This time was no different. Knowing that Playful is absolutely terrified of anything supernatural, his friend, with the help of someone else, dressed up as the Grim Reaper and made a noise right outside Playful's front door. Startled, Playful went to check what was going on. When he got there, he didn't find anyone, and that alone was already enough to freak him out. But then, out of nowhere, the Grim Reaper appears right in front of his face. He literally jumps out of his skin, screams, and takes off running in the most hilarious way possible, while the whole thing is being secretly recorded the entire time. He runs back inside the house, screaming that death had actually come to take him away, but he definitely didn't want to go. Everyone, of course, just burst out laughing at the whole moment and the scare poor Pirillo got. So this guy ended up being the target of a pretty wild prank while he was sleeping at home, and he got woken up in the most unexpected way by, let's just say, a very unusual group of people. The video shows a man walking down the street and heading into the building where his friend is passed out asleep in his apartment. But here's the thing, he doesn't go in alone. No. He actually walks through the street calling random people to come along with him. We're talking women, other guys, everyone looking super pumped and ready for whatever was about to go down. They all pile into the apartment, find the friend dead asleep, and wake him up in the most chaotic way possible. And obviously, his first reaction is pure panic, because out of nowhere, a huge crowd of people he has never seen in his entire life are just standing in his apartment. But after the initial shock wears off, he actually seems to warm up to it and just rolls with the whole thing, getting up and jumping around with everyone who showed up to be part of this absolutely ridiculous little prank. A waitress at a restaurant went viral on the internet thanks to a prank she pulls that always catches the customers completely off guard. The video, which is always filmed in secret, shows her walking up to the table of her chosen victims, carrying their orders. But sitting on top of the tray is a full glass, except it's fake and it's actually attached to the tray by a little string. So right after she finishes serving the table, she deliberately knocks that glass over, giving everyone the impression that it's about to spill all over them. And obviously, when people see that, they totally freak out, thinking they're about to get soaked, only to then realize that it was actually just a toy glass the whole time. And honestly, you really can't blame them for reacting that way, because in that split second, every single one of them genuinely believes they are about to get completely drenched. That scene gets me every single time, honestly. It's just so natural to completely freak out when you see a cup falling and think the liquid is about to spill everywhere, but then that sweet relief kicks in the moment you realize it was all just a prank. So this guy decided to pull a little prank inside a gun store in the United States, and let's just say the staff were not happy about it. In the clip, the man is already inside the store when he asks to take a look at one of the guns on display. The employees grab the firearm he requested and hand it over, and this dude just immediately raises it into a shooting stance and lets out this loud aggressive war cry right in the middle of the store, like he's in some kind of military or police training. Yeah, as you can imagine, that did not go over well at all with the staff, who instantly rushed over and confronted him.
Get down to the ground! What's wrong with you?
He tries to explain to his friend that it was all just a joke, but the sellers are still completely furious, and they end up kicking the guy right out of the place. No mercy at all. YouTuber Raphael Chocolate, who's known for his comedy and prank content, went viral yet again with one of his boldest and riskiest pranks yet. Here's how it worked. First, a friend who's part of his crew sneaks up to the victim's house and quietly sticks a printed flyer right at the front entrance. That flyer says the place is being used to sell illegal substances. Then, Raphael and another actor, both dressed up as police officers, roll up to the house, knock on the door, and confront the homeowner, showing them that flyer that was posted right there at their entrance. the victims have absolutely no idea what's going on. They're completely freaked out, desperately trying to explain themselves, begging and pleading, saying it's all a huge mistake and that they have nothing to do with any of it.
Vocês conhecem ele de onde? E é?
After messing with people for a while, keeping that super serious face which obviously sends the victims into a complete panic, they finally reveal it was all just a prank, and you can see the instant relief. Now here's another prank that spread all over the internet, and this one is just too good. The clip shows a guy struggling to lift a bag with his hands, and he clearly can't do it. Probably because the thing looks absolutely massive and heavy. He just keeps at it, straining and grunting, while his buddies casually walk over and pick up the other bag sitting right beside him like it's nothing. That starts getting under the skin of the guy who's actually the target of the whole thing, so he decides to step in and show everyone how it's done. He walks over, pushes the struggling guy aside, plants his feet, and goes all in trying to yank that bag up off the ground and just completely eats it, falling straight backwards. Because yeah, the bag was totally empty the entire time. And to make things even worse, he ended up falling into a lake that was further back on the course. A group of friends spotted a man holding an advertising sign on the side of a highway and decided to pull over and mess with him. In the footage recorded by the guys who stayed in the car, we can see one of the friends walking up to the man holding the sign and starting a conversation with him. After chatting back and forth for a little while, he seems to convince the man to let him hold the sign for just a short period of time. But as soon as he actually grabs it, he just takes off running with it, making it look like he was planning to steal it and leave the poor guy completely unable to do his job. Furious and not having any of it, the worker sprints after him and manages to catch up pretty quickly, and that is exactly when a fight breaks out between the two of them. He grabs the prankster, tosses him right into a bush, and seeing that things were getting really heated and tense, the friends decide to jump out of the car to break things up and defend their buddy. The whole scene ended up sparking massive controversy online for being widely seen as deeply disrespectful toward a working man who was just out there trying to make an honest living. So this woman decided to pull a little prank on her brother, and he was not happy about it at all. The game was pretty simple. Both of them had to slap their hand down toward a cup that was hiding an egg underneath it. The goal was for one person to try and guess exactly when the other would pull the cup away, so they could avoid smashing their hand right onto the egg. They start playing, and at just the right moment, as soon as her brother yanks the cup away, she brings her hand down onto the egg. But instead of cracking it open and losing the round, she deliberately grabs that egg and smashes it straight onto her brother's head. And yeah, he completely loses it. He thought he had won the whole thing and flashed that big grin. And then, splat, an egg straight to the head. Turns out his sister had set the entire thing up from the very start. So this young guy knew exactly how strict his dad was when it came to disrespect, and he decided to pull a prank that pretty much nearly got him into some really serious trouble. In the clip, he pretends to be having a casual conversation with his mom while his dad is sitting in the background, just quietly watching TV, and then completely out of nowhere, he suddenly turns to his mom and tells her to shut up. His dad immediately jumps up, absolutely furious, and starts heading straight toward him. And the guy, who is still filming the whole entire thing, quickly reveals that it was all just a prank. His dad then takes a long, deep breath, calms himself down just a little bit, and slowly walks away from him.
Shut up, Mom. Dad, we're just joking. It's just a prank. It's just a prank.
The video went absolutely viral, and not just because of the prank itself, but also because of that dad's sheer size and the look on his face. Honestly, nobody in their right mind would ever even think about messing with that guy. A man pretending to be an undercover cop walked up to three guys who were just sitting on the side of a curb and decided to pull off a seriously bold prank. He walks over, tells the three of them to stand up, and immediately announces that he's an undercover officer. The guys, of course, get completely freaked out and follow every order from this so-called cop, who tells them to lift up their shirts, put their hands on their heads, and start straight up mocking them the whole time. Then, at a certain point, this fake cop tells everyone to hold his hands and just launches into a prayer. The moment they realize this dude was actually just messing with them the entire time, they go after him, and he has to straight up bolt out of there as fast as his legs can carry him.
Irmão, se eu tô aqui pra ajudar, cara, é pra ajudar a fazer o bem, entendeu?
Então vamos orar, meu irmão. Orar o quê?
They actually hold hands and everything, but the moment they hear the guy say they're about to pray together, they suddenly realize they've been totally pranked. And that's the exact moment when all that anger just completely explodes. Another really creative prank became pretty famous for showing the absolutely shocked reactions of people when they saw something, let's just say, completely out of the ordinary right in front of their very own eyes. In this prank, an actress pretends to be a police officer and casually approaches a driver who had pulled over to the side of the road. She walks right up to the car, asks for the documents, and starts carefully going through everything. And then, right at that exact moment, a pink-painted elephant and a whole bunch of yellow balloons come passing right by on the street. Something so completely and utterly bizarre that the person watching can barely believe what they're actually seeing. They quickly try to warn the officer, who has her back turned to the whole thing and honestly doesn't seem all that concerned, just calmly telling them to relax and calm down. But the absolute best part happens when she finally turns around to look, and instead of an elephant, an older woman suddenly appears wearing a pink dress covered in yellow polka dots, matching exactly what the driver had just described seeing moments before. Obviously, the whole moment becomes incredibly awkward, with the person desperately trying to explain what on earth had just happened. After spending quite a while stumbling all over their explanation, all of the actors come together and walk up to reveal that the whole thing was, in fact, just a prank. It was also revealed that the paint that had been used on the elephant was completely harmless to him, and that the animal actually lived in a sanctuary where he was already very used to being around people. A guy decided to prank his mom using just 3 things: a toy spider, a mug of hot chocolate, and a hidden camera. While making her drink, he dropped a fake spider right at the bottom of the mug, knowing full well that his mom absolutely hated spiders. He prepares the drink like any normal day, hands it over to her, and starts secretly recording. She sits down, takes a few sips, and the second she notices what looks like a spider inside the mug, she lets out a scream and launches the whole thing across the room. As a result, she crashes right into a cabinet and completely wipes out, all while her son is just standing there filming the whole thing. I don't think he expected his mom to smash that mug like that, but she did. He posted it and the prank just absolutely blew up online. So in the scene, an actress pretending to be a security guard walks up to a random person passing by near a barrier gate and asks them a favor to open it when needed because a guy was supposedly about to show up with a small vehicle. The person agrees, no problem, but when they actually have to open the gate, they have absolutely no idea that it's going to swing straight into a group of people gathered on the other side, just chilling with tables and drinks. The gate catches the glasses, sends everything flying, knocks people over, and the shock on everyone's faces is immediate when they realize something went very wrong. Now, of course, everyone there is an actor and in on the whole prank. But what makes the scene even funnier is that after the gate swings open, they actually try to chase it down to stop the collision. And they just can't. They're completely helpless, standing there with that classic deer in the headlights look on their faces. And that's all for today. If you enjoyed it, drop a like and hit subscribe. Sending you all a big kiss, and I'll see you tomorrow.